What's up YouTube, Dar here from Zephyr, bringing you another live duel for locals. Now unfortunately at this one, I forgot my second camera, which is why we only have the one view and not the hand view, but I thought I'd add some commentary on top to give you a bit more of a feel of the old days and explain what's going on. So on the right I have myself playing Super Quantums, and this is like pure Super Quantums, doesn't involve Fiendship or anything else like that. On the left my opponent is on Yubel. Now, massive shout out to my opponent on this one. So this is a kid that came to locals like probably over a year ago now. Started off with Crystal Beasts, had a lot of fun with it, and then he started to develop an interest into Yubel. And as things developed, he was able to pick up some of the cards. Now, what I'm trying to highlight here is that they weren't able to go and grab the best cards. I didn't have loads of money to pump into it. So over time, they've been able to slowly get increases, like when they pull certain cards from packs they open, when they end up getting some good cards in trade, everything else like that, and work their way up. So it's kind of an admirable thing to see. And what's happened is this player lately has been getting really, really good because they've been starting to adapt the strategy to what they have available to them. So where some people play like one Nightmare Pain, he'll play two. Where some people don't play Super Poly anymore, he'll play Super Poly. And the Super Poly can be a massive game changer just because it enables you to kind of like break an entire field, which you'll see throughout this duel of how it kind of works. So that's kind of like an introduction to my opponent. But as you see with the Super Quantals, what I've done here is I opened up red layer, so I was able to special summon that down. I was able to normal summon down blue layer, and I kind of overextended a little bit here. So this is where I mess up the access to Great Magnus. So as you can see, I'm trying to work into Magnus here, and I don't really get there. I kind of mess it up a bit because I think I get rid of a Quantum card in my hand that I needed in my hand. So when I've utilized these monsters, linked them off into IP, I'm able to trigger red layer. Red layer is able to summon back the green layer for me. And then in turn, what happens here is I'm able to send add a quantum spell with the black layer. Now, it's at this point that I kind of realize that I don't have enough discard resource for the Magna Carrier or the carrier to work my way into Magnus, and I'm like, damn, I'm missing the red layer. I kind of should have gone for something like the white layer to get me the Fairy Alphen and used Alphen as my like ideal normal summon, and that just kind of really didn't come across. I was able to get, so like my initial plan as I was trying to build this was like, oh, I can get one of the Megazords into the graveyard, and at the point of summoning a Megazord, I only had the green in the graveyard, so my misplay was sending the green. I should have sent a different quantum. So I thought I had a quantum in my hand. I was like, I'll get a little bit greedy, discard a card, draw a card. And then when I double checked my hand after I'd already sent green, I couldn't get anywhere. So I get into new layer 19. I use layer 19 to get me to the red layer. I'm then able to utilize the ability to add back black layer through red layer's green effect. Red layer's grave effect. Red layer's summon effect. Woo, get there eventually. So when red layer is summoned, it lets you add a quantum back from the grave. And again, now it's at this point, it's like I kind of the spell. So off of black layer, I searched out the layer 19 when I should have searched out the field spell. So what I do here is I end my turn. Now there is a reason I've ended my turn like this, and that's for the pure fact that, you know, my opponent starts off with tracked. What I'm trying to work to is I'm trying to go into SP. SP will allow me to trigger off one of my blue to recycle 3, green to discard and draw a card, bit greedy, and then red to summon back. And then obviously that will trigger a chain of events because that will allow me to summon back black layer. When black layer is summoned back, that then allows you to force yourself into a Zord, and the Zord I would then want to try and ideally fit myself into with this particular field will either be a Grand Pulse to deal with a spell or trap, or go into the Ligar to deal with a monster, and that's kind of where I'm looking for it. I don't really want to interact with the Lurry because they go Lurry and then they go into the Dark Beckoning Beast. Now, one important thing to remember, as I mentioned previously, is this player doesn't have every single access to the cards. So the two cards that they're currently missing for the Fiendsmith package is Lacrima and Requiem. So two very important pieces, which obviously does make this matchup a little bit easier to try and navigate. That being said, on the flip side of that, they do lean more into, as I've mentioned, Super Poly. So I need to be a little bit careful, which is why I'm kind of in a good position right now by having a Wind Warrior, a Water Psychic, a Fire Warrior, a Water Psychic, and I can't remember what green layer is. A Cyverse Dark in the form of IP, and green is Spellcaster. There we go. So I'm kind of playing around most Super Poly targets. All I need to do is make sure they don't get a Yubel to the field, because if you get a Yubel to the field, I'm in a bit of trouble. So we're going to go into SP. SP is going to get rid of the Dark Beckoning Beast, and the reason that I'm kind of doing that is by getting rid of the Dark Beckoning Beast, it means they don't have a monster with 0/0 in the graveyard. It also means that they won't be able to get the additional normal summon, and it looks like they changed Savara in the hand. It chained SP to target itself and the Dark Beckoning Beast, and that then meant that the Shavara could never hit the field. So I now have the knowledge of most of the hand of my opponent. Bringing back the Ouroboros, I don't know why I did that. I'm trying to think the benefit of bringing back the Ouroboros as opposed to bringing back another Quant. Maybe I didn't have Black Lair. No, I must have had Black Lair in the graveyard. I'm not too sure why I didn't bring that back. Or why I didn't try and trigger another effect. I'm not too sure on that one. Kind of doesn't make that much sense. The more and more I'm thinking about it, I'm like, hang on a minute. All I've done is SP. I think I have some hand traps. I think I must have an Ash Blossom or something. But obviously, at this point now, knowing that my opponent doesn't have access to Requiem, like holding an Ash Blossom, that doesn't matter. We're setting a card here. They're attempting to use Shavara again to target the set card, and I'm just checking that it's a hard once per turn, and obviously we confirmed that it is a hard once per turn. So, again, just kind of getting over those little hiccups of, just double checking cards. Yeah, and I think this is kind of like a really big important thing, because if you can shut off the access to a 0/0 Fiend in the graveyard, you're in a good position. Now, obviously, in an ideal scenario, they would then be able to go Lurry into Requiem, Requiem Tribute off, get access to Lacrima, Aquila, send Engraver, and then, tick on from there. That's kind of the benefits of this one, and they unfortunately are now forced to pass. So I draw for turn. What I should have done here is I definitely should have used the effect of the Ouroboros to equip to attach a Super Quant. So we just remind ourselves that the SP comes back, Dark Beckoning Beast comes back, and now I'm in this position where I don't want to destroy the Dark Beckoning Beast, because if I do that, straight away the Opening Spirit Gates is back live. I know they've got Shavara in the hand, so at any point when I activate a targeted effect, they're probably going to utilize that. So I kind of want to try and keep SP around as well. The blue effect, when it's sent from the field to the grave, or when it's sent to the grave, isn't really going to do anything for me. It's going to target 3 Super Quants in the grave, shuffle them back in. The green isn't going to do anything for me unless I have another Super Quant that I can discard. So there's a lot of kind of figuring out the best place to go. So I decided to go into the Link free. And the reason I did that is I was like, okay, cool. Well, I should have the ability to get some XEs back to the zones, and I need to draw some cards. My hand wasn't the greatest, but it wasn't the worst, and I probably kind of needed some. And then when they were able to activate Vader to it, that kind of gives me an issue. And then what I've said, you chain link 1 Valar, I chain link 2 Black Lair. Black Lair then has the ability to summon itself down. Now, obviously, I never used Black Lair during the previous turn, and the reason for that was I probably forgot, if I'm being completely honest, but I also, like I said, I didn't want to destroy the Dark Beckoning Beast. I kind of held the Black Lair back, because then if they were able to add anything more, I could disrupt there. So we're going to go into the Magna Liger. This would have given me a draw off the Link free, but obviously it's been Veilered, so I can't do that. I do have the Liger as a quick effect, because it does have red as material. And again, in scenarios like this, when you have one of the correct layer and one of the incorrect layer, you don't want to be detaching the incorrect layer during your, the correct layer during your turn. You want to save that for during your opponent's turn, because then it is still a quick effect. So the Liger here has the ability to destroy. And again, when you're looking at the monsters that I can destroy, I don't really want to be destroying Dark Beckoning Beast, which is why we go for Lurry. I'm trying to bait out the Shavara. Not really taking the bait on this one. I do get to add another spell from the hand, from the deck to the hand. I do still have a layer 19 left, so layer 19. This will give me access to a blue, which will search me out a spell. It could get me, which I think that's what I go for. I'm trying to remember, this is last local, so I'm trying to remember what I go for. But I think the idea of getting access to blue layer eventually will be quite helpful for me. So we're going to white layer. I don't know if I want the monster negate on this one. Oh, I remember now. Yeah, I adapt the level and make it a level 3 ground pulse, because I was like, you know what, as soon as Nightmare Pain hits the field, I need to do what I can to get rid of it. And during my turn, I need to get rid of that dark magical circle, the Opening Spirit Gates. Even though I know they've got a second one, if they activate the second one, I can then chain the quick effect of ground pulse to destroy it. So white layer is going to send from deck to grave the blue layer. It now becomes a level 3 and becomes a blue attribute. I'm now going to trigger the... I think I triggered the blue layer, because this is where I've messed up, so I need to recycle some of my resources. I burnt for my resource way too early. So we put the green back, we put a black layer black layer back. And then we also put back a layer 19. It's really cool that you can recycle the layer 19s if it's a really cool card. Oh, that's right. I had Tokenton Borg in the hand. Ha ha. Classic. So overlay these. So Grand Pulse isn't going to be a quick event then. Apologies. We do have the one set card. The chances are it's probably an Unchained trap card. I kind of want to be a bit aggressive here. So again, like the idea was trying to work my way into multiple Zords to get me multiple draws, which would then hopefully extend my plays. I kind of should have tried to push my way into a Fairy Alphen or a Fairy Zetan. So get rid of the Dark Circle. Oh, actually, no. At this point, I don't know they have a second opening Spirit Gate. I don't know why I keep calling it Dark Circle. At this moment in time, I don't know that there's a second opening Spirit Gates because they didn't get to resolve. What did they went? Oh, maybe I do. I can't remember. I can't remember if they started off with gates to get him into the Dark Beckoning gates. So Shavaro targets the second gates. Wow. Okay. Cool. They clear off their own both gates on that one. That's surprising. I probably would have targeted the Dark Beckoning Beast and then get the Dark Beckoning Beast to the graveyard. SP destroy the Shavaro. Shavaro to set the trap card. Magna Ligar attacks at 24. The Link Zord and then 18 for the Grand Pulse. And set 1. I don't think... Oh, that's it. I go into a Zeus. Do I remember now? Because the way I saw this was I use Ligar Dancer to pop, I use SP to tag out, and I can tag out my own Link monster if I want to. And then I can Zeus clear the field and use... and then kind of go from there. This was like in case they got to a Phantom, in case they got to like prevent anything here. So we're going to start off with a Dark Beckoning Beast again. This is going to get into another Opening Spirit Gates, activate the Opening Spirit Gates, get into the third Dark Beckoning Beast. This is where it's now like a semi-bit of an issue because if they have a Yubel, if they've drawn a Yubel monster, they can discard that. And it looks like there's a Lotus there. So trying to get into Phantom is really important in this, and obviously there's the big difference. So there you go, there's the Spirit of Yubel. So you're just trying to maximise the advantage. I'm assuming that was drawn for turn, because if it wasn't drawn for turn, you probably would have played it last turn. So going to go directly into Phantom, normal summon down Lotus. I'm trying to think if the spell card is something that interacts with it or not. Oh, it's Called by the Grave. Lotus gets ashed, and then baiting it, like trying to get that Phantom to go, and then I'm pretty sure it's Called by the Grave if I remember rightly. Called by the Grave on the Phantom. Yeah. So they really want the Lotus to resolve. Gonna go for the Phantom. There's no way you kind of let this resolve. As it chooses to cost, obviously SP. I can chain SP, but there's nothing I really want to clear here. I think, yeah, it has to be Called by. So Called by on the Phantom. Unless they've got like a way to stop, like a Ghost Spell to stop that. That's going to go, which means the Ash resolves on the Lotus. And this kind of puts me in a pretty good position here because I've got a quick effect of the Magna Ligar, which by detacting the red layer will allow me to revive a monster. I've got SP, and yeah, it looks like we're just scooping up and going into game 2 on this one. I think like when you lose your only Phantom and the only way you get it back is through a Mature Chronicle, can always be a little bit awkward. But at least in our time, we're going to see Yubel go first. It wasn't, unfortunately, spoiler, it wasn't an ideal hand for them. They had like 2 Lotuses. So normal summon Lotus, hit it with the Imperm early. I know where it's going. Activate Nightmare Pain, destroy the own Lotus, grab hold of the Spirit. Now, this is also another thing that this player does, is he likes to play free Spirit, and really annoyingly, they play Geistgrinder Golem, which is quite annoying, because they give you, even if you like, oh cool, I can end my field, they'll give you a Geistgrinder Golem and an attack into it, gain life points, and deal you damage. And on top of that as well, they also play free Spirit, and I'm like, yo. I should have been, knowing that there's possibly a Super Poly along that spell and trap zone, I probably should have been a little bit more cautious on this, but I really wasn't, which is naughty. I'm trying to remember what my hand was. Like, I think it was a mixture. I don't think it was ideal. I think there's a route to White Layer and there's a route to the Fairy Alphen. And I didn't really respect Super Poly, not going to lie. But, you know, knowing that Phantom can't do anything. So we're going to start off with White Layer. I think, is that Black Layer? Yeah, I mean, I haven't really... there are ways you can abuse Black Layer a lot more, in the sense that, you know, you hold it as a hand trap. Like, you make sure that you always hold it and use it as a response. But on this one, we're using, discarding it off of the white layer, summoning down the white layer, tuning our chains on this one. So to go Chain Link 1 white layer, which will send and adapt the level. Chain Link 2 will be Black Layer to send. And then it looks like they're going to go Chain Link 3 will be Phantom to deal with Black Layer. Chain Link 4 is going to be Imperm to deal with White Layer. And I've just got Saki and drawn the Call by the Grave. So we're going to Call by the Grave the Phantom to make sure the Black Layer resolves. This will then get us the access to layer 19. Annoyingly, with white being impermed, it stops it being able to adapt its level. So I'm now like, not that the level 7 XZ's Megazord isn't good. It's just like, in this scenario, it's not ideal. Like, I don't really want to negate stuff. I'd much rather have like access to red layer, Grand Pulse, or stuff like that. So we go normal summon the Fairy Alphen. Oh, I think the other card in my hand was 1-for-1. I think that's why I kind of felt okay, because I was like, I can bait stuff into this, try and like bait stuff out when they've got 3 spells and traps, and that's exactly what happens. Is like, well, not so much a bait out, but I have run head first into a Super Poly, and usually if I didn't have 1-for-1, this Super Poly would have absolutely cracked me. Because I now no longer control a Quantum monster, which means my layer 19 is offline. What I probably could have done and should have done was activate layer 19 while I had white layer on the field, and then made a play there. That would have been respecting that a bit more. Oh, that was it. It was 2 Fairy Alphans. So it's 2 Fairy Alphans and a 1-for-1. So 1-for-1 to get into Zetan. Zetan's just so good. Like, Zetan and Black Layer are so good on this one, because Zetan lets me, not only does it let me tribute to send one, but it also lets me tribute to special one. It's like, yo, I get 2 of the best things that Quantums want. And at this point, I've only used White Layer and Black Layer, and I haven't even used White Layer's Graveyard effect. So you send one that is not a dark, and then you summon anyone that you want. So summon Black Layer, send Red Layer. Red Layer can revive from the graveyard. Let me just double check. I'm pretty sure, because if I read it a couple of times, it's like, send any Super Quant from the deck to the grave except a dark, and then special summon a Super Quant from the deck except itself. So except the Fairy Zoltan. So then we've got the Black Layer. The Black Layer gets summoned back, goes into the Magna Liger, because obviously the Red Layer's in the graveyard. Like, such a great effect. Custom card. Love it. Now we activate layer 19, going to blue. Yeah, going to blue. Blue, grab me a spell. We're going to try and rank these up. It would make sense to rank these up. Oh, no, I've got no hand left. So, no, it wouldn't make any sense whatsoever. I think I go for a layer 19 to be played during my opponent's turn. But what I should have done, and this is the odd scenario where it comes up, is that you play this one-of spell card, which is, let me just double check and try and find it while the deck's in front of me. Super Quantal Alpha Spike. Now the irony is, I sided this out because I was like, I wasn't really getting my head around like its applications. But then ironically, it's like, if you control 3 or more Super Quants with different names, shuffle as many cards your opponent controls as possible into the deck. Your opponent does get special on a monster from their extra deck, ignoring its summoning conditions. But with Yubel, it's like, what's the worst thing they're going to summon? Like, okay, cool, you summon out a Varudras, but it's not going to have material. You summon out a Phantom of Yubel, but I've already banished it. So it was just ironic that at this particular moment in time I had 3 Super Cons with different names. So we're going to detach, we're going to destroy the Garura, let them draw a card. We're going to attack in for 24, 20, I think it's 24, 26, and 12, if I remember rightly. Annoyingly not enough for game, but still enough to get me somewhere. We're going to link 2 into IP. We're going to trigger the blue to start recycling. So we're going to recycle an Alphen, a layer 19, and a Black Layer. So that gives it a little bit more to go for it. And again, the idea behind this one is that during my opponent's turn, if they summon a card that I want to destroy, I can Magna Liger it, destroy it, trigger the red layer to summon a monster back from the field, use IP to link off with itself and then any other monster, so ideally the monster I bring back from the graveyard, go into SP, and then on the resolution of that, I've got SP plus whatever monster I use as material, and it looks like they're going to set a card, and ultimately this is where it's going to be game, because I use Magna Liger's quick effect because it has the red layer to pop the face down, and then move into the next turn I'll get the red layer, battle phase, game, you name it. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share. Till next time, as absolutely always, stay safe, and of course, happy dueling.